Hello everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is my first time going live on YouTube, so bear with me. I have the stuff in the background. I'm gonna go ahead and move this over here. I want to make sure that everybody can hear me. I'm gonna type something out here. Hello. If you can hear me, do me a favor. If you're able to, just go ahead and type something real quick on the chat, so I make sure that you're actually hearing what I'm saying and it doesn't just look like I'm miming things. So I'll wait for a moment. Looking forward to this. Very cool. Hello, joining us from Canada. All right. So the reason I wanted to do this was because I know that during this time, there's a lot of stuff going on, and anybody who is already dealing with anxiety, who already feels stressed out, something like this that's sort of out of your control to some extent. We can control washing our hands, where we go to, staying indoors, things like that. But other than that, there's a large part of it that's out of our control, and so that can have a tendency to create anxiety, stress, and that's natural because our minds and our bodies are built to try to predict the future, to control an outcome. It's how we survive. And so sitting down and just hearing about something new that may be happening with the coronavirus or anything else really could start to create thinking and stories about what will I do now, what will happen to me, what about this, what about that. A lot of worry, a lot of what ifs, and it all is centered around our survival. And then that can create emotions, sensations, tightness, stress, and then anxiety kind of being that feeling of wanting to do something and needing to do something but not knowing what to do. It's just kind of that energy that's stuck there a little bit without an outlet. And those are all normal. And I, in my own experience, have really learned through dealing with trauma or anxiety disorders or whatever it was that I was dealing with at the time, and even just in daily life, I've really learned that that stuff is automatic and it's okay. The peace comes in when we learn that we don't have to feed into it, that it's okay to be there, and we can just let it be there and we can let it leave. So the analogy I really like to use for myself, and maybe it'll be helpful for you, is an ocean and its waves. When we look at an ocean, depending on what's going on in the ocean, it could be thrashing around. The waves could really be crashing. It could be perfectly still, but we always look at it and we always go, that's the ocean. Because the ocean is meant to have waves. It's meant to go up and down. It's meant to have tides. That's what it does. And as human beings, we're meant to have emotions. We're meant to have thoughts. We're meant to have sometimes anxiety, sometimes stress, sometimes worry, sometimes joy, sometimes happiness, sadness. We're meant to have these waves. So at any moment when you're feeling stressed or anxiety or sad or angry, these things are simply waves and you're the ocean. And if we can get into that mindset, then what happens is we stop feeding into the things that are popping up. We stop running with them. We stop treating them like something that needs to be fixed. And naturally, we kind of fall into this place of wholeness with ourselves, of peace with ourselves. And so this exercise I want to show you and share with you, because it's something I do daily. It's my way of life, just to being still. As often as I can, I remind myself that I just am as I am, and that's okay. I'm going to share it with you, and I'm going to do it with you, and I'm hoping that it'll help relieve some anxiety or some stress. And really what it's doing is it's allowing you to just rest as you are, so we don't add any more thoughts or stories or feelings to the equation. We just let the waves be the waves, and the waves naturally will die down. So I'm going to check my chat real quick and see what's going on. Hello, hello, hello. All right, you can hear me. Wonderful. So here we go. Time is it? 8:05. We got a little bit of time. So for a majority of this, I'm probably going to close my eyes because it helps me kind of get into it. Uh, and I invite you to do the same. If you're somewhere where you're watching this and you can close your eyes and you can kind of relax, I invite you to do that. So the first thing you want to do is you want to kind of settle into wherever you're at. And you want to notice any kind of tension you have going on. And we'll start with the body, because the body, it's a little bit more concrete. And then we'll move to the thoughts. But it's the same principle with everything. We're going to allow ourselves to be. So any kind of tension that you may feel, just notice where it is. And now what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to feel it as part of you. Now that sounds a little strange, but I want you to just try, and I'll explain why. Wherever that tension is, I want you to feel it as part of you. Feel that experience as a part of you. See, a lot of our tension comes from conflict that we create with these waves inside of us. And what we kind of forget, and I'm perfectly guilty of it, is that these emotions, these sensations, these thoughts, they're not separate from us. They're a part of us. They rise from us and they fall back into us, just like the waves of an ocean. And if we can choose to feel these things as a part of us, then that takes away the conflict. And it also takes away the fear that these emotions, these sensations, and these thoughts can actually do something to us. Just like the waves cannot hurt the ocean because the waves are the ocean in that moment. These sensations, this emotion, these thoughts are a part of you in this moment. And then they shall pass. So just feel the sensations in your body as a part of you. Feel that you are those sensations just in this moment. And notice that you're aware of them. Notice that you know that they're there. Now here's the real interesting part. Ask yourself, does that awareness, is that knowing that it's there, is that bothered by the sensation it's aware of? Or is it simply just aware as it is? if you find that it's just aware of it as it is, just rest in that for a moment. Allow yourself to just know the experience of a sensation or an emotion as it is. And notice how you don't even have to try to do that. You don't even have to try to just know. That's just the way it is. It's effortless. The knowing of this sensation, of this experience, it's just there. And that knowing has no problem. It's not worried about the thing it's aware of. You just know. So you go back and forth. You notice the sensation. And you feel it as part of you. Pick another one. Pick another sensation, anywhere it is. And if it's a thought that you keep having, just notice the experience of a thought. A thought is just an experience passing through your mind. The content of it, that can change, but the experience of a thought passing through your mind is the same every time. It's just a thought passing through. The experience of a thought coming and going. So allow yourself to experience that thought as part of you, just another wave rising and falling, except this is happening in your mind. It rises and it falls, rises and falls. Doesn't matter what the content is, what the words, what the images are. It's still just a thought rising and falling. A wave of you rising and falling. So pick another sensation, a thought, an emotion, even if it's not one of tension, any sensation you want. And feel it as you. Feel it as a part of you. Like your arm is a part of you, a leg is a part of you, finger. Feel the sensation as a part of you. And now notice that you know it's there. And ask yourself, is this awareness, is this knowing of it, have a problem with it? The actual knowing of it? Or is it just at peace with it because it just knows? And just let yourself know what you're aware of. Now, new sensations might pop up that you become aware of. You might notice that the sensations and the emotions change. And you just continue to feel it as a part of you and know it's there. This is how you allow yourself to just be. And the beautiful part is you already just are as you are. Just like the ocean just is as it is. Nothing to fix. It's simply just life in motion. And if you notice that some tendency to think something anxious or feel anxious or worry about this, what about this? That's simply just an old emotional learning, an old habit. That's your mind trying to figure out what can happen, what will happen, how do we control it so we can be safe. It's just rising up within you. There's nothing wrong with it. It just is as it is. So if you can feel that as a part of you just coming and going, there's nothing to really do about it. Even if you get wrapped up in it a little bit, you just are as you are. That's just you, experience in motion, life unfolding. You just are as you are. You could say, I am as I am, right now. And there's a peace about that. When you feel it as a part of you, you know it's there, you realize, oh, this is me right now. And that's okay. That's when you stop the fight. You stop disturbing yourself for that moment. And that's how we kind of cease the war inside of us. Cease that experience. But please remember that even in that experience of creating conflict within you, there's still a peace about that, because you're creating the conflict. We create the conflict. We have the freedom to do that. And that's just the ocean raging on a little bit. I'm going to take a look at my comments and see. Oh, I appreciate it. Hello, everybody. Does anybody have any questions for me? I'm also going to show you another quick way to kind of put yourself into this state also. I'll check back. There's something called tapping, which I found real helpful. And the tapping, what it does, in my perspective, is it helps us get into that mode of allowing ourselves to be. You know, there's something real special if you think about the moments where you're so caught up in what you're doing, you don't even think about yourself. You're not thinking about yourself in the moment, you're just in the moment. And in those moments, I've asked a ton of people, and even when I think about it myself, in those moments, I feel the freest, I feel the most at one with life, the most joyous. It's just, you're in the flow. They call it flow. And tapping, for me, is a quick way to get to that. It gives you something to do. So if you find that you're kind of disturbing yourself and stirring up your waters, which is fine, even then, and you want to experience something differently, you can do this real quick and it'll help you. So I'm going to show you my version of tapping, but there's plenty of YouTube tutorials out there. Just type in tapping or EFT and you'll find it. But again, the reason that we're doing it from my perspective is so not to create peace, but to kind of return back to peace because we stop ourselves from creating more conflict within us. So the first thing you do is you just notice what's bothering you inside. So today, I'll give you a little background information. We were at the park, and there was a dog that was off the leash, and the dog kind of came at our dog who was on a leash, and it just kept coming on and snapping, right? And so I saw the owner, and the owner was just kind of looking and not doing anything. And so I yelled out, "Hey, is this your dog? Is this your dog? Come and get your dog." And then finally the owner came and got the dog, and we got our dogs down and left, and that was kind of the end of it. Come back to the car, people are gone. It was a family. It was a young boy, mom, and I think a couple younger girls, and he was like a teenager. And this just happened right down the street. Come back to the truck is keyed, and that wasn't there before. So apparently just that interaction was enough to make this person decide that, you know what, I'm gonna key your truck all the way around the truck. Needless to say, super heated about that. Lots of anger, lots of waves, and I'm just allowing myself to be as I am. I'm allowing the anger to be there. I'm allowing the thoughts to be there. I'm allowing the feeling of wanting to do something to be there. We drove around trying to find the people. Nothing. But in that moment, I knew that even as the anger was kind of roaring in me from not being able to do something about the situation, even as the thoughts of wanting to do something, I can't believe I can't do something, how could they do that, what kind of act is that? My practice was to just be as I was, to not try to fix it. The tapping came in handy. So here's what you do. First thing you do, notice what's bothering you. So in that moment, a little later, I noticed, okay, my stomach is very tight. I have these thoughts about wanting to retaliate. No problem. Next thing you do, wherever your hand is, wherever it happens to be resting, either one on your body, you just start tapping. Just start tapping. And the reason you're doing that is because you're giving yourself something to do. Okay? You're just going to tap on your body, and movement actually puts you a little bit into flow. And now what you're going to do is you're going to look around, pick a color, and look around your environment for every instance of that color. So I'm going to pick green. So I have some green leaves there. And you keep doing this. I'll tap up here so you can see. You keep doing this while you're tapping. A little green tree right there. A little green tree over here. Lots of green trees because it'd be still a little tree. Container right there. A ribbon right there. And if anything else pops up, any thought, sensation, you just notice it while you're looking around. Just notice it's there and go back to looking for your color. And put all your attention and all your curiosity into finding the color. Backpack, a little bit on that thing. Every little bit, even a little speck of green. There's a little tiny dot of green right there. Do that for about 30 seconds and then take a deep breath. Let it out. And what you've just done is you allowed yourself to be as you are. While you're looking around for a color, it's very hard to look around for a color and also be in your mind creating stories about how you feel, creating more conflict. And when you're tapping, it gives you something else to do. So yes, it is a little bit of a distraction, but it's a distraction from creating more problems out of how you feel. Not necessarily to make the feeling go away, but to not perpetuate it, not add on to it. So you check back in. How am I feeling now? Anything still bothering me? A little bit, little tension in my left arm. So I just notice it. Okay. I go back to tapping, and I'm going to pick a different color, pink. So there's a mechanical pencil right there that's pink. The dot on my phone is reddish, but that's not necessarily pink. One of the Sharpies is pink. The markers. Any other little tiny thing that's pink here? I don't think so. Just happen to not have a lot of pink. But that's okay, because I'm looking outside of me instead of perpetuating this tension. So I breathe in and I breathe out. And you want to just keep repeating that cycle. Breathe in, breathe out. Notice what's bothering you still. It might have changed. Maybe it's the same thing. Tap and look around for a color. Any color. All the instances of it. Do this as many times as you need to. Because the more you do this, the more you're not creating more conflict within you. So you're not going to experience more of that. You're just allowing the waves to do what they do until they settle down. You're allowing yourself to be as you are. There's a beautiful piece in that, just being as you are. All right. Well, I got 4 minutes left. I want to thank you for joining me. If this was useful at all, please pass it on to whomever you think may need it. This is a little bit of a rough time for some of us, especially if it's anybody that's already been dealing with a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of sadness, any difficult emotions. This can be a very trying time because it's a little uncertain, and that tends to bring some more of that stuff to the forefront as your mind and your body are just trying to figure out a way to be safe. But I invite you to remember, it's all you. It's all you. What you feel inside of you, the thoughts, they're all you in this moment. They're a part of you. They are you. They're the waves to the ocean. Because when you can really feel yourself as the experience of this moment that knows itself, that knows the experience to unfolding, there's no more conflict. Because the suffering inside, that emotional suffering, a lot of it can come from a conflict that we create by saying, I don't like that. That's bad. I don't like the way this feels. What's wrong with this? We create this conflict, this idea that there's an us and there's a way we feel, and these things are not lining up. There's a problem there. When the reality is, there is an us, and the way we feel comes out of it. It's a part of us. Just like the waves are a part of the ocean, so the ocean can never be hurt by the waves, and the ocean is always at peace because there's no two things that can be a conflict. The ocean is one. If you can allow yourself to just rest and feel the truth of that, then a lot of that self-perpetuated internal suffering just quiets down. A lot of that war is over. It's a beautiful thing. I wish y'all well. I'll be going live again on Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Let's do another stillness exercise. Truly, in my life, this has made the biggest difference. It truly has. It doesn't necessarily mean all the pain goes away and I'm pain-free or, anger-free, like I was very angry a little earlier, or even fear-free or any of that. What it means is a lot of that war, that suffering created by me fighting myself, that's gone. And that feels amazing. Y'all take care of yourself, and I will see you on Wednesday. Peace.